I often wonder, what is the value of religion? Even after a lifetime of involvement in it, I wonder, is it all a waste of time? We go to church. Does it matter if we go or don't go? What is the point of it, really, in the light of all that goes on around us and within us? I read in one of the magazines that I subscribe to that every year 2,400 people in the United Kingdom harm themselves. Every now and again, a magazine article in this country will name depression as the modern world's epidemic. And every second day, there are reported instances of domestic violence and so on. Where does worship realistically fit into all that tragedy? Where does the church services and Sunday religion fit with these apparent gaps in our mental health, our mental life, our regard for ourselves, and our behaviour towards each other? We know that people can be high up on the ladder of academic achievement, high marks in all those esoteric studies at university. And we know of others who have a lifetime of highly practiced manual skills, but they would hardly ever consider spending any time in church on Sunday mornings. Waste of time. Stupid. We're off our heads. So I wonder, if church life has anything to offer to our mental health, or for the energy, the revival of the energy of the human spirit, why does it plummet to such a low level in people's priorities? You can take it or leave it, come or go, doesn't much matter. It's a waste of time anyway. Stupid. And then I wonder about the people, many people, who'd always been part of the church life, always. They've joined in the worship, they supported the good causes, but then there was that incident. I would almost call it a minor incident. And those devoted church people vacated their pew and were never seen in a church pew again. So what happened to all those earlier years of devotion that had given, presumably had given meaning to their Sundays, meaning to their lives, or that had been a habit of their lives for so many years, perhaps 50 or more years? Was it all a waste of time? Waste of life? I could name people whom I hold in the highest regard. Indeed, I could sweep my eyes across people of my own extended family, and I could reflect on the majority of my staff of some nearly 70 people. All of those people know of my church involvement, but they have none. Are they any less mentally healthy for that? We know that people who do not do regular physical exercise are lower on the scale, or likely to be lower on the scales of physical health. And any one of us, I think, could name those essential markers of physical health. You know what they are: what you eat, what you drink, whether you smoke, whether you exercise every day. But are we able to designate the markers of our mental health? I think not. And this is especially relevant when there are many in secular society who would say that going to church and being mixed up with all this religious stuff is a sign of low mental health. Crazy stuff. For those of us who hold the view that worship contributes to our mental health, And do we? Those of us who do, it is a serious challenge then to demonstrate how it contributes to our mental health. And if it doesn't contribute to our mental health, to our mental states, then why are you doing it? It's a little bit of a double up there in my argument, but follow it if you can, if you will. You see, if you say it has nothing to do with your mental health at all, then what is its purpose? There are plenty of accounts in the literature, and there are many examples from professional and anecdotal experience to have us recognize that religion and madness all too often run closely together, in various degrees, of course. Religion can be tangled up with various tangled mental states and various mental disorders. In my other work, I see it all too frequently. There is even evidence to suggest that our mental health is so undeveloped, so underdeveloped, and so misunderstood that very few have recognized how religion and worship could possibly contribute to our mental states or our mental health. We haven't even stopped to think of that or to give it any credence. There's also evidence from anthropology and cross-cultural psychology that shows that many aspects of our modern religion are hangovers from deeply primitive beliefs and practices from way back. Our current searching for a meaningful religious experience can be tangled up with infantile psychological needs, oh yes, as well as with confusing spiritual fantasies. Thus, religion and worship can be an expression of a misunderstood or an undeveloped mental health, rather than being a contributor to our mind and mental health. The fact that there are such high levels of anger and dogmatism and fear and rat-baggish stupidity associated with religion, it would seem to indicate lesser levels of mental health development, not only in religion, but in other areas as well. So we shouldn't only blame religion for it, but religion can become the target of our criticism, our aggression and fear. Again, as a hangover, I think, in some cases, a hangover of primitive fears and unconscious wishes to manipulate and murder the God who had promised to gratify our various hungry needs. The Bible, again and again, describes that kind of thinking. So in this address today, I hope to go part of the way to dissect the tangle of our worship practices and our mental health. I shall focus on the conscious aspects of our religion that could contribute to our mental health. And there are two necessary questions at the outset. One, what is the point? What is the point of worship in church anyway? And two, how does worship, religion, contribute to that mental health? How does it contribute to the mental health of a classroom of Year 12 boys or a cluster of 55-year-old women in the specialist's waiting room, they themselves housing various ailments? Or how does it fit with a lunchtime gathering of senior executives, all of them just over 60 years of age, and not one of them accustomed to church life, and not one of them on any kind of talking terms with any minister of religion? So how does worship and religion contribute to mental health in those circumstances? I shall concentrate on that question. I shall put forward several markers. I hope that you'll argue in your mind or with me about them. Several markers by which religion and worship do contribute to your mental health. And I'm aware that as I unfold this inquiry, the question will arise, what of those who do not have these markers? Will they be in any lesser mental health? Or will the substitutes that they follow be sufficient, if I call them substitutes? Substitutes for religion. And it may prompt everyone to face up to this other tantalizing question. What do we mean by mental health? We're very quick to say, don't you tell me there's anything wrong with my mental health. But what do you mean by it? And is it not likely to increase or decrease? Is it likely to increase or decrease by your attendance here today, or your attendance regularly in church, any religious engagement? And that may prompt to ask a further question. What are we doing when we engage in religious practices of worship? So I'm really back to the speech, the sermon, the address I was planning to give several weeks ago, but I canned it, and this is a new address. I didn't give that address, some of you will remember. So I'm asking the question, if these practices will contribute to our mental health, how do they? So rather than spread out over many issues, I shall take only one, the way church worship affects our mental state and our mental health. Of course, church worship can be about taking a place in the pew and following the various segments of the church service. But today I'm inviting you to look a bit deeper than that. So here are the points. Worship is much more than participating in the religious ritual. Worship is about the way we see ourselves in the wide scheme of things. We are but a speck on a large landscape. How do we see ourselves? How do we see ourselves? How do we see ourselves? Number one. Number two follows. Worship is about opening up our emotions. Life events hit us and the emotions come. It is about feelings. Are our feelings open to something, or do they close down? Are they expansive or are they defensive? Worship very soon becomes about our behaviour, our ethical behaviour, our behaviour in relation to other people. Worship is about human relationships and a mutual enrichment in those human relationships, we hope, we plan. Worship is about the expression of a belief, of many beliefs and meanings to life, our life, affecting each one of us and human existence generally. Worship is about joining the human personality in the pursuit of our growth, our potential, our significance, and more. Now, many of you will say, I don't need it. I'm not arguing that point. I'm only arguing that this is what religion can do for our personality. So at this point I've said 5 things. Religion is about how we see ourselves. Religion is about opening up our emotions in a different way. Religion is about our behaviour, our ethical behaviour towards each other. Religion is about an expression of beliefs and meanings in life. Religion is about joining the individual human personality to the processes of growth and potential. I'm going to go on. Worship is about finding ways to embrace, to understand, and integrate and celebrate the depths and the heights of human existence, the tragedies and the triumphs, the failures and the fulfillments, the suffering and the compassion. It is about recognizing the very worst of our humanity and aspiring to the very best, transcending selfishness and hate, celebrating collaboration and altruism, Worship is about the human past. We read about it today. It's about history, it's about diversity, it's about the anxiety of the ages, and it is about the belief in the future. Not only the past, but the future. The longing for immortality and the mystery and poetry of the angels. You see, you get tangled up with that word immortality, so I skate over it quickly because it's not basic, really, to the Christian faith, but it's there, and so I skate over it to talk about the mystery and the poetry of the angels, because it lifts us out of us into another aura of life. Worship gives a sense of generational belonging, generational enrichment, and generational contribution, involving a sense of contribution to the present and to the future generations, and a generational enrichment that can be derived from this experience, a generational belonging and enrichment. Worship is about promoting the protective side of health and longevity. Because you see, if we belong to a community that cares, a caring community, a community that supports each other, a community that remembers and provides a holding community for people, that contributes to your health. And the studies show it, the psychological and sociological studies show that that kind of religion contributes to your health and longevity. A general statement worth considering. Worship is about the after effect. Once you have been engaged in worship, there is an after effect of being ready to deal with life's convolutions and conflicts in a more constructive way. Will it soften your anger? Will it release you from all those tangles of your guilt and grief? Will it release you to respond to the possibilities of that inner force forwards? Worship, you see, is about healing and consoling and soothing and strengthening. It's about transformation. Whatever the anxiety, worship opens a possible pathway to quietness and courage. Experiencing a strengthening within, it provides a readiness to carry and convey that strength to others. Worship is about a different light shining on ordinary events and experiences. It lifts body and mind to the awareness of the resilience of the human spirit. Worship is about spirit, about life, vitality, gratitude, joy. Worship is about being open to spirit, because we're the poorer if we're closed to it. Health of spirit. Worship is about searching for the affirmation, finding the strength in the good spirit of life, in the world, in ourselves. So, did you get my second run of 5 points? It's about the past. It's about generational belonging. It's about a protection for your health and well-being. It's about the after effect. It's about healing, consoling, transformation. Worship is thus a transformative experience. That's what it's meant to be. If it loses its transformative qualities, of course it's a waste of time. Of course it is no good. And of course you should give it up. It has lost its essential capacity. Indeed, perhaps that's why so many people give it away. It has lost its transformative capacities. Or we ourselves have lost contact with those transformative capacities. Or we sabotage the very experiences that would expand our human mind and enhance our mental health. Over the centuries, worship has taken many forms. We know that. But ultimately, its value is most noticeably demonstrated when it enlarges the human mind, when it engages the fullest healing response of the human community, and when it enhances our mental health, our own mental health, and hopefully the mental health of people throughout the world. Would you please stand? Would you say with me the prayer of the ages, the Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the blessing. May the God you see in all the colours of creation arouse in you a sense of awe and wonder. May the God who is a sacred presence be real to you. May the God who is a source of inspiration and courage keep calling you forwards. May your God go with you and bless you today and always.